Annyeonghaseyo, goeiedag, goedemiddag, good evening, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tianky101, and today we are going to be doing the end of the year book tag. I saw this on a YouTuber called Katie's Reading, and I thought, you know what, I wanted to jump on that bandwagon. I want to get part of it. Get what, how, who, hit. I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to get on that book tag. There were some interesting questions, and questions that really needed to mean there were some questions in there that really had me thinking about how to answer them because I'm new to the book world and the booktube and the bookstagram, so I'm not really up to date with what's happening with all the books, especially new book releases. I don't really know, but I thought I'd still jump into it, do a little bit of research, do some reading. Yeah, do some reading and then get back to you with a new video. So this will be my end of the year book tag. But before I jump into that, I first want to give you an update with how my reading is going. How's it going with my November TBR? I have finished one little book from the Korean side of life, and I am currently busy with The City We Make. The City We Became. I always get confused between this one and the second one, which is The World We Make. The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I'm currently reading this one about, I think, 80% through it. So hopefully I will be able to finish this today and then jump back into my November TBR with Almond by Won Pyong Son. I'm really excited to start this reading adventure. I feel like it's going to be a very emotional reading adventure, but I'm very excited for it. And this is also part of my November TBR. The N.K. Jemisin I started reading because I thought it would be a treat, because I finished Love in the Big City. I finished very, very quickly. So I finished it that in a den. I was like, well, I finished early so I can jump into it. And then turns out that reading N.K. Jemisin was not the best choice for reading something fast. But without further ado, let's rather get back into the real reason we are here and not jabber on about other stuff, and that is the end of the year book tag. So there are 5 questions. I compiled little lists for me that I can use and we can go through. And the first question is, are there any books you still need to finish before the end of the year? And there are lots of books I still need to finish by the end of the year, but I'm taking this question more, or this prompt more, as books that I'm currently still busy reading and not books I want to read, because that will be an endless list. And of course, that will be 1Q84 by Haruka Murakami. I finished the first book at the beginning of this month, or the end of last month, and I still have, as you can see, 2 more to go. So as soon as I finished with Almond, I will jump back into Murakami, and hopefully I can finish the second one in November, and then the third one this is the first one. The second one and the third one, hopefully I can finish in December. I hope. He's not an easy read. Okay, I'll be honest. Like it's not easy. It's not easy trying to do him. No, trying to read his books, or specifically this book. Maybe not all his books, but that book is. Oh, Maya. I have some empty boxes in my apartment, so Maya is taking advantage of that. The second question: what are some autumnal books that are good to transition into the end of the year? This was a very difficult one for me because I don't really know a lot about season specific books, but I thought more of what I would enjoy with an autumnal vibe. As you can see, I am wearing a little. I'm not wearing. I have a little blanket covering me because it is getting very cold here in Korea. But I was thinking of what would be good vibes for that, and my first one would actually be The House on the Cerulean Sea, which has a beautiful love story. Apparently, I haven't read it, and also has some found family. And I think something like that, something that can be cozy, lovely, romantic, cute, sweet, cute, queer, I think would be great to transition into the end of the year with something I think a little bit more positive. As I understand how the ending is positive, I think. Maybe. I hope so. This is just my idea, my thoughts. And the other one, keeping with the whole romance idea, I also thought about reading Abby Jimenez's Part of Your World. For some reason, there was something about the story that just intrigued me, and I thought that that would be a great way to settle into the more cozier vibes, with a fun little small town, big city romance trope. And I've heard good things about this book, so I thought, you know what, why not throw that into as a good book to go from to get into the end of the year with something sweet and positive and fun. Hopefully that is exactly what I will get from this book. Let's keep our fingers crossed that that will happen. Third question, what are some new releases you are still waiting for? Well, this one I also had to research. Again, I am new to this whole book world, so I'm not up to date with what is happening around the world with books and stuff like that. So, some new releases that I found that are, because I wanted to say Iron Flame, but then Iron Flame isn't a new release anymore because it has been released. I'm talking about new releases that hasn't come out yet. So I thought, you know what? Let's go with Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. That is the follow-up to The House in the Cerulean Sea. So I was just thinking, you know what? I would be excited. I've read one of TJ Klune's books, the one about the puppets. I cannot remember the name. The one about the puppets. I read that one and I really enjoyed it, and I've been wanting to read TJ Klune as well. I also ordered Wolfsong by him that I also want to read. So I'm excited. This will be a new release that I'm excited for. The next new release that I'm excited for is Song of the Six Realms. Now, if you've never taken the time to watch a Chinese fantasy drama on Netflix, do it. It is amazing. It's so dramatic. It's so over the top. It's so fun to watch. And I've been curious about what it would be like to read a book like that. So next year they're releasing. This is by Judy. I'm not sure if that's Judy. I think it's Judy I. Lin is the author. And Song of the Six Realms basically follow this girl who is a talented musician, but her parents died, and then she goes to live with her uncle, and she starts to play music for the royals. But then there's an attack, and then she meets this duke who is awkward but handsome and sweet. So he offers her to play music at his estate for a year. But then she finds out that he isn't just a normal duke, he's also a duke, the Duke of the Dreams. And then they have to work together to solve some sort of mystery to stop the world of the end and the ending of the world and all those things. And I was just like, that sounds like fun. Like, I'm there for it. I've watched a few Chinese drama fantasies and I'm like, yes, give me more. So I thought this will be a fun little new release to be excited for. And then my last one that I was also excited for is called Most Ardently, a Pride and Prejudice remix by Gabe Cole Novoa, which is about a trans boy who falls in love with Mr. Darcy. So everybody thinks that this trans boy is a girl and is treated as such and is put into dresses and things like that. And I've never read Pride and the Prejudice. Will I ever read Pride and Prejudice? Maybe for like a book challenge or something. I would probably read Pride and the Prejudice. But I thought, you know what? Let's jump into Pride and Prejudice with some queerness, some LGBTQ goodness, and see what it would be like if one of the characters was a trans boy who then fell in love with Darcy. This, I think, is a young adult book. So I'm not sure how much that's gonna affect the story, but just throwing in a trans boy already is already an interesting twist that I kind of enjoy for it, for something new, something different. Oops, I'm pressing the wrong buttons now. Question number 4, what are 4 books you still want to read before the end of the year? That is a quite easily some very famous books. 2 of the books I don't own. I still need to find the books, but it's Atlas 6 and Iron Flame, of course, is on that list. But I don't need to say much about Iron Flame or Atlas 6, as everybody knows who they are, what they are, and who wrote them. So I will also be jumping into Babel. Is definitely one of the books that I want to read, and of course, If We Were Villains, that I also want to read. Those I think are 4 books. I think the original prompt said 3 books, but when I thought about it, there were 4 because it was basically If We Were Villains, Babel, Atlas 6, and then Iron Flame. And Iron Flame, I'm so angry because Iron Flame I should have received on the day, but then there were problems, so now I'm only receiving it next week. So I'm not a happy camper because I really want to read Iron Flame. But yeah, these are 2 of the books with Atlas 6 and Iron Flame that I still need to read and still want to read before the year is over. If I had to narrow it down, of course, that is the short list, I think, if I can put it like that. The short list. Is it? Are there more books? I can probably add more. Oh, also Gideon of the Ninth. I've heard so many things of Gideon of the Ninth. Now I'm thinking about it. I shouldn't think, otherwise this list is going to become 5 books that I still want to read. Gideon of the Ninth has also been roaming around in my head, but let's not go into Gideon of the Ninth. Let's go to the next question and the final question. Are there any books you think you could become a favorite of the year? And you know what? One author that I don't see mentioned often, that I've loved ever since I was young, I've read about 2 or 3 of her book, is actually Jodi Picoult. This is her new book with Jennifer Finney Boylan, Mad Honey, and I think all the books I've read by Jodi Picoult has been a favorite, and definitely someone that I easily would recommend to people. I think she writes interesting characters, very diverse characters, and very intense subject matters, which I think one of her books that still haunts me today that I want to reread is 19 Minutes, which was a brilliant book, as well as Second Glance. But Second Glance, that was a thick boy. So I'm not sure I would just jump into Second Glance again, but 90 Minutes definitely I want to read again. And then Mad Honey. Other than that, I think books like Babel, Atlas 6, If We Were Villains, Iron Flame, Almond, I think all of those are strong contenders for books that I think will become favorites this year. I'm not sure. I think it depends on my taste or my headspace, my taste at the moment. If it's a mood read, if it's a reading challenge, we'll maybe change that. But what I've heard from especially Babel and Atlas 6 and If We Were Villains, those 3 I think are really big candidates for some of my favorite books of the year. But of course, I will be doing a video of my favorite books of the year. Maybe my favorite and least favorite books of the year, because they were of them. And there's also a book that I DNF that I'm also thinking about reading. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the end of the year book tab. And that was my end of the year book tab. Just a short little video, a few books that is roaming around in my mind, a few prompts that we can use to answer some questions about what to read, what I'm reading. I need to go back. Well, I need to edit the video. Then I need to go back and finish The City We Became, so that I can start with Almond and jump into that. But I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful life, wonderful whatever you are doing. Don't let fear interfere with your happiness. You deserve all the happiness in the world. Groete, liefde, vrede, vreugde, geluk, blijdschap, liefde, al mijn dingetjes voor jullie. Until next time. Bye bye!